right. See, you're an artist. You're messy. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Warren Flax. This is my mother, Dee Silver.
Hi.
And we're here from Silver Brush once again.
Making a mess.
Yes. And this was all clean and neat. Everything was
Just
organized.
2 seconds ago.
And literally, as I said, "Art, are you ready?" Suddenly there was paint on the canvas.
Yes,
You
sir.
know a little bit about that, right, artist? So, really excited to talk to you today about some really unique shapes and some really big stuff. So for those of you who like to paint big works of art, this is going to be the tools for you. So we've got some giveaways today. As you know, we like to give away free stuff. So make sure you're typing chat in the chat box, and make sure you tell us where you're logging in from. And ask a lot of great questions. We love to respond to questions, and that'll help us today, and some of you will be rewarded. So what do we have? First we have this beautiful Monaco case, and I'm going to open that up to show you what it looks like on the inside, because this case has one side for the brushes, and then one side with a nice zipper pouch for all of your other art materials. We're going to give away one of these today at the end of our Facebook Live.
And they will hold the jumbo brushes.
Yep, that's why I chose the big one.
That's
good.
good.
We do have these in the small size too.
Right.
We're also going to give away some of each of what my mom's going to be talking about today. So we have some hockey brushes, so we'll give away this set of hockey brushes. And we have some Mottlers, both a hog bristle and a badger blend. And then we also have these jumbos. So there'll be 4 winners today, most we've ever done. We had a lot to talk about. So with that, Dee Silver is the founder of Silver Brush Limited. She started the company 30 years ago, and she is a world-renowned speaker on the subject of artist brushes. And so what my mom's going to talk about today is all of these different large brushes, how to prepare them, give you some tips on how to take care of them, and I know you'll learn something today. So with that, I give you Miss Dee Silver.
Thank you very much. Good day. I hope you're having a wonderful summer. It's just about over. I guess lots of folks are back at school. I thought today we'd do something that's just perfect for this time of year. We're going to talk about goat hair blending brushes. It's generally called hockey brushes. We're going to talk about our Mottlers. Here's our Mottlers over here. We've got several to choose from. And we're also going to talk about our jumbo brushes. And I thought instead of just doing some simple stuff, I would show you a little bit of what you can do with on the palette. I traced in a flower over here, show you some of the things that Soon Warren has taught me about watercolor painting and what you can do with some of these brushes. So here we are, we have some new wonderful brushes, and this one unfortunately got some paint on it before we started, but I'm going to do it with this as well. The first thing that you should do when you're starting a new brush is you should do a knifing. Now you've heard me talk about it before. If you're not new to this, then this is new for you.
Do you want a clean one?
Yeah. But what we have to do is something called knifing. And knifing is a very simple process. So this is goat hair. Goat hair, you know, is extremely soft. So it gets captured within the ferrule over here. Our hockey brushes are really extraordinary quality. You can see the glue plug over here, as well as this is copper wire.
Say that again. You said glue plug. What does that mean?
This is called the glue plug. That means that it's all the hair is put into glue over here, and then the whole glue plug is put into this side. As you can see, it's just slipped into the whole head, and the head is actually one piece. And then to hold it together, we use copper wiring. We don't use cord. A lot of this type of brush only comes with cord.
Like string.
Like string. And what happens is when this gets swollen, the cord breaks and you basically don't have a brush any longer. That never happens with ours because of the extra construction that we put in it. But even though these are extraordinary quality, I still do something called knifing. And I have the black paper, so in case anything comes off, you can see it. And I see 1 or 2. Nothing more annoying than getting hair in your paintings. I feel for you. I know how annoying that is. And here I am. You can see I've got just a couple. Nothing. It's just a bunch of loose hair. There's there's really nothing wrong with the brush at all. If it came out in clumps, I'd say yes, you have a difficulty or a problem, but that isn't. So this is one of our best-selling brushes. This is just a plain, flat, hockey brush. Very, very versatile. You'll see me using it today. Then I developed this particular brush because I felt that an awful lot of people work at different angles. And this is an angular goat hair mop brush. And I think the advantage of this is you can see it's got that really great shape. So I'm going to use the back of my butter knife once again.
And that's just a plastic butter knife?
That's all it is a back of a plastic butter knife. Okay, this one actually has a couple of hairs that are coming out. Notice just how flat it is. There are no blades or anything like that. Just very, very simple. Something that you might have around the house. And so I've taken the hair out of that, and you can see I've got a couple of them here. And again, you've got a glue plug inside the head, and that's really very thick over here. And then we have copper wiring that's holding the head together. And then it's all put together. But what's so different about this is the angle in which you can hold it. So if you're sitting down, you can just work like this. But if you're standing up and you need some extra additional work on the side, notice how convenient that is. You don't have to go like this or down like this or anything like that. This is extremely convenient for any artist of any height. So if you're working up high, you can use it like this. If you're working down low, you can use it like this.
Lots of hearts for that, so I think that really resonated with a lot of folks.
To me, this just is the most wonderful shape brush. This is I'll tell you what it is. It's our 5006. It comes in like very, very small sizes up to a pretty large size. And it's really handy for every artist. I think every artist studio needs one of these. I also have...
I'm just going to put it in front so people can see the number. So this is the number 5006, the Atelier Hake, size 20 in this case.
What else I have to show you today is our short little mini Atelier Hake brush. This one has a very short length handle. And you can see they also come in a couple of really interesting sizes. What's nice about this is when you're working flat and you want to get very close up, you don't have a handle in your face. So that's what makes this really, really very, very convenient. And of course, you can use it like this as well. Again, you've got the glue plug over here, and you've got the copper wiring. And I'm just going to do the same thing I do with all of my brushes, and that is I give them a little bit of cleaning. This is called knifing, and you really want to do this to begin with. Don't be, say, oh, I'm not going to do it. Then you can aggravate yourself if you got a couple of hairs in there. Just
Question. Is Atelier and Hake the same thing?
Okay. The name of the series in Silver Brush is Atelier. Atelier actually means studio in French. So it's our Atelier Hake brushes. What anybody else would describe them as, I don't know. But I use the name Atelier because I feel this is a studio brush and everybody should have multiple of these in their studios.
But and the Atelier series also has the quills.
Yes. It has the quills. It also has the Mottlers. So it's a very large series. But why I use the name Atelier is that I felt it was art studio basics. I felt that every studio needs to have some of each of the brushes that I'm showing you. And I think it's very important that when you're setting up your studio, or you have a studio and you're thinking, well, what else do I need? This is a basic. So every studio needs one or two. I mean, if today you can only afford one, then just buy one, and the next day you can always get another one.
What sizes do they come in?
Okay, well, this is very interesting because I brought out this one. This is the 90, and that's of course in centimeters. And this starts, I think, at 10.
Yeah.
So it comes pretty small. It comes pretty small to this really big guy. This is a 60. So you can see we have a large variety in this particular size. And in the small one, this comes to a 2, 3, and a 4. That's 8 inches. And then we have the angles. I believe the angles come in just 3 or 4 sizes. And, you know, they are available. You know, an awful lot of folks around the country, around the world, carry our Atelier series.
And what media are they good for? Because they're made of goat.
They are made of goat. So what does that mean?
Goat
It means
hair.
it's a natural hair. So that means you can use it in any media. You can use it in acrylics, you can use it in oils, you can use it in watercolors.
Or gouache.
Today, of course, gouache. I consider gouache part of watercolors as like fluid acrylics because they're very, very wet. And today what I'm going to be showing you, I have watercolor, I have fluid acrylic, I have gouache right here in my little palette. I also have watercolor water to show you how I'm going to do some background painting today. But the first thing I wanted to do, after I showed you the knifing, which you know is really handy, please remember to do that before you start your brushes, and you'll be really grateful that you did that. I do that with all my brushes.
So what's that one?
This is called a Mottler. Why Mottler? Mottler is actually a German name. It's the Atelier Mottler series. It's a German name that really just means a wide wash. So this one comes, you notice, in a nice filbert shape, and this one comes in an angular shape. And these are hog bristle. These are a very nice hog bristle. And then I have a Badger blender. This brush is a blender that can go again in oils, acrylics, watercolor. Very soft. And actually, I don't see any here coming out. Oh, I got one. I got one to come out of there. But this is something that I'm going to use over here, and I'm going to show you why it's important to have a brush this length handle for something like this, because of the convenience of painting with its on that surface. So let's do that, and then we'll go to the jumbos. We have a full series of jumbos, and maybe I should just briefly go over that with you as well. We have hog bristle jumbos. These are very large brushes, as you can see. Again, I would do the knifing with this as well. We have it in round. This is always up to a size 50. This is a very interesting brush in the jumbo. This is a chisel fitch. What makes it different than anything else that I'm going to show you? The fact that it's got this gradation at the tip over here. You see that? So when you're working it down, you can see that you can get a nice edge to that. And everything is edge, everything is the mark, everything is how it works for you. And then we have that brush also in an angular hog bristle, and we have it in a flat. So this has got a lot of variety, doesn't it? It really does. Then we also have these brushes in a white stiff tack-on, which is what this is. You can see I've used this a bit, and I also have it in a soft golden tack-on. And this is in a oval, this is in a filbert shape. We also have them in a flat shape. These are just a humdinger of a brush, priced right so that anybody can really purchase them. I don't think anything is over in the United States in dollars, $19.95 US dollars. So that's the retail price. I believe then you get discounts off of it. So these are really priced right. But
In the 20s. Some of them are as high as 29, the largest sizes, but
that's a
that's
very
all.
big sizes,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our Mottlers. I'm just going to stand up for a second to give you an idea that, so I have this, this is not a canvas. Oh, so I better sit down because you've just seen my stomach.
Well, that's okay. Go ahead. I'll take it up. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so this is just a pad. This is not a canvas. So usually pads I just work flat. But I did want to give you an idea of what this looks like and why you need the handle and why it's so convenient. So I'm going to put this in a little bit of water, and we're going to put a little bit of color on it, just a little bit, not too much. And this way you can see notice how nice it is to have that long handle, and you can move back from it, and you can take a look at it from far away. It's really very helpful to get the objectivity of being able to move away from your subject with a handle like this. A lot of times I notice that people sometimes use a short handle brush, but that's if they want to get into doing detail. Right now we're putting on the background, so you really need to move away from the surface and you have to give yourself a little bit of room to do this over here. Now, if this was a canvas, you'd have a different effect. You wouldn't have this drooping over here. I'm just doing this with watercolor because it actually cleans up easier here in our studio. But it's the same technique. You would use it on the surface. This would be a canvas. It would be watercolor paper, so you get an entirely different effect on that. Like, I have some red watercolor that's very, very wet over here. Let me give this a try. I'm doing this with the Badger blender, and that's our Badger blender Mottler. And I'm just putting that on the background. See that? So if I wanted to, I can easily put the painting on the front of this background. So here I have this very pretty background, and I would take a detail brush, and I have several detail brushes here. I've got my Golden Natural, and if I wanted to, I could take this, put that in a little bit of watercolor over here, and just do a little bit of background detail. And that may be something along that line, like that. So you've got the beautiful background, you've got the detail in the front, and it gives you it gives you a perspective moving back and forth with something like that. I'm going to be doing that again on the over here, but I wanted to give you an idea of how great the long length handle is. It's really convenient in your studio. So again, this is part of the Atelier series. I feel that every studio needs these long handle brushes, and it really makes a very big difference. And my job is to make your job easier. It's to make you not have to think about, oh, am I having a bad day with my brushes today? I never want that to happen for you. I want you to have an extraordinary experience every time you go and paint. So that's our job. We know what our job is. So these will definitely help you. These are our Mottlers.
Got a question about how to clean those. Maybe a little later you can talk about that.
Well, because this is hog bristle, but I just used watercolor, so you just need, like a soap and water type of thing. It'll come right out. If you're using oil color, you're going to have to use a solvent to clean it up. I would recommend an odorless solvent. Because it's hog bristle, it won't curl or anything like that. Always be careful when you're using anything with synthetics and oil color. You really want to use an odorless solvent so you don't melt the synthetic filament. Okay? So those are our Mottlers, and let's turn to our Hake brushes. This is my black. You're going to see me use this in the future.
So one question was, can these brushes be used for oils and acrylics?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
But not the same brush.
Well, no. I really feel very strongly that if you're using a brush in oil color, you have to leave it in oil color, because what happens is
Not overnight, but you just mean it should only be used in oil color.
It should only be used in oil color. What happens is the solvent gets saturated in the hair itself, and it's almost impossible to get it all out. So what happens if you go from oil color to acrylic color, you're going to get solvent in your acrylic color, and it just doesn't work like that. It just won't work very well. So you really want to keep it. Once you get this, if you want to use it for acrylics, that's fine. Just keep it in acrylics. Very popular type of product, acrylic. So I can see everybody doing that. That's our Mottlers. I'm going to do a little bit of background painting here too, with this.
Hey, Lena had a question. Are the same rules applicable for brushes in water as well? Don't leave them in water.
Don't leave any brushes in any media at all. When you have a brush, always clean it with whatever you're cleaning it with. Always take it out and let it dry flat, just like that. Don't ever leave brushes at any given time in media at all, because what's going to happen is it's going to get absorbed in the ferrule, and paint will go in there, and then you start to see cracking and problems with the handle. And also you'll see the hair start to go out all over the place because the paint has gotten inside the ferrule. Very aggravating to clean it out. Of course, you'll use my boiling hot water method to clean it out, but there's no guarantees. So you really want to try and never leave it in any kind of moisture at all for any length of time. Put it in and take it out. So I prepared this watercolor pad with a little tracing of a flower. And although I have issues with painting because I'm not an artist, but I do enjoy it so much, and I can understand why so many people love to paint. It's really a joy. So what I'm going to do, and my teacher was none other than Soon Warren, and those of you that know her magnificent painting know how superior she is. But what she does, and she's taught me, is to put moisture throughout the back of my painting, get it nice and wet. And that's what I'm doing with this great hockey brush. Now it's pronounced hockey. Some people call it hake, but it's actually Master Brush Maker taught me how to say, they call it hockey, so that's what we're going to call it. So I've watered down my entire paper. And what I should do is show you the flower that I have on here. Let's show the flower that I've traced on here, Warren. And here's the flower that I've traced on here, so you can see that. And I understand that it's not a bad thing. We all do that. So I've let it, got the whole background wet, and now I want to get some color on it so that we have like something nice for the background. I'm going to take the blue, and I'm going to put it on the background. And here we are. And I just got a hair. I got a loose hair. Let me get that cleaned out. And then I'm going to put a little bit of red on the bottom. Now you're probably wondering, why am I using blue and red? Because that's the colors I found in my palette. That's the only reason. So we've got blue, and with it going down, so it could look like a spring day. And now I've got my background all laid out there. So what then should I do? Because I'm supposed to be showing you these jumbo brushes. Well, I thought what I would do is show you some background color on the sides, and I'm going to just be using watercolors for that. That's all. I'm just going to be using watercolors for that. And I'm going to want to get a little more color over here. And I need to do that with these brushes so that you get a little more depth out of it. And if I hadn't put the water on the background, now you can see a couple of hairs over here. If I hadn't put that on the background, you would get more of a uniformity, and you would get a completely different feel for the background of this painting. Notice you get a little bit of pink throughout that area, and I really like that. What I love about these brushes, and what really makes them stand out, is that you can get an awful lot of color very, very quickly on a surface. So here I am with my jumbo, once again, putting it on my background. This is just the flat golden stiff white tap-on, which I prefer that to the softer one, but everybody is different.
Good question from Monica. Is goat hair better than pony?
They're two different, entirely different things. Pony hair is much more absorbent than goat hair. Goat hair, though, is much, much softer. So you'd be able to do a lot of these blending techniques that I'm doing right now with goat hair, whereas pony hair will absorb it more, and you'd be able to do more detail with the pony hair. Okay, that's that. And we had some of the jumbo. We're going to do more jumbo in a minute.
What kind of watercolor paper is that?
I only use 140-pound cold press. I find it works best for my techniques, and I'm much more comfortable with that than anything else. Now, this is interesting because somehow my brush got into some fluid acrylics. So let's see if I can get that to go in there. There you go. So we're getting like this nice, this is from all the water that I have on there. Notice how it comes out, and it's blending right in there. So you're going to have very interesting looking painting. Isn't that interesting? As it dries, we're going to get a little bit less furry, but it's going to be so much fun.
I have another question about Taclon. I wanted to know, what is Taclon?
Taclon's a synthetic fiber. It's in the nylon family, and it was originally designed by and developed by a company in the United States named DuPont, which you know is a very large company. And what they did was they sold the formula to a company in Japan named Toray, and so all of the really fine artist filament comes out of the Toray factory in Japan. Now there are also factories in China and Korea, and there's another factory in India, and I understand there'll be another one also in the Far East. But the very best, the very, very highest quality Taclon comes out of the Toray factory in Japan, and that's all we use at Silver Brush. We don't use any of the inferior material that I feel comes out of other countries as well.
And that's so that's 100% synthetic. And then there was another question after that on a different topic. Well, Angela wants to know if we would ever be interested in selling paint, like watercolor paint.
Well, that's a very interesting question, Angela. Come back in a few years, and I suppose we'll go over it again.
No, that's not something we're doing. Maybe some sets or something at some point, but no,
Maybe some sets will work with some other color folks. But right now we have our hands filled doing magnificent brushes. So what I'm using right now, of course, is my black velvet. This is just a round. This is a size 16. And what I love, of course, about this brush is all the detail that you can get out of it. There's nothing that works quite like black velvet. Notice how I'm going in, I'm getting those nice little petals on that flower. I'm sure you could all do a much better job than me, but you can't blame me for trying. It's just a lot of fun. So here I'm creating this poor little flower that's I'm sure would have had a better life with someone else. And but I'm having a good time with you today. This is let's do this.
And what media is that one?
This is watercolor. I'm
Okay.
just using watercolor because it's just an easier thing for me to work with. And I'm just going to put that over there. And again, because I use the water on the outside, that's why I'm getting the little furry background. But you can see that there are a lot of things that you can do while you're working with these detail brushes. But again, we're going to go back to the backgrounds and do some more in the background. I wanted to give you an idea of some of the detail brushes that we use, because you're going to need both. If you're using the goat hair, if you're using the Hake, if you're using the Atelier blending brushes.
So what's the difference between Hake and Mottler?
Okay, the hair itself. This is the Mottler. This is a blend of badger hair and synthetic fiber. This is a hog bristle, and this is goat hair. So there are three different brushes right here, not all on these nice long handles, so that you can stretch and put it on a surface like that. So all three of them do something else. You can put all of them in oil color. You can put all of them in acrylic color. You can put all of them in watercolor. The bristle, though, I would not recommend for anything like watercolor because it's just too stiff. It's really made to move heavy tube oils, heavy tube acrylics. It's just too stiff, and I'm always afraid that if you run it over a surface like this paper, which has been watered down, it may actually tear the paper. So that's just for your knowledge to know that. But
What's the difference between goat hair and squirrel hair? Which one's softer and absorbs more water?
squirrel.
Squirrel's is
Squirrel
softer.
is much softer. Squirrel is much more absorbent. Squirrel is much more expensive. Best way to describe that.
Yep. And black velvet is for watercolor and gouache only, right?
Yes, I would not recommend this for acrylics, for fluid acrylics, or for
Because it'll tear.
anything other than that, because it is a very, very soft fiber. But of course, there's nothing better than this brush for detail.
And again, it's black velvet's fine for gouache.
It's very
As
nice
well.
for gouache, and if you'd like me to demonstrate it with gouache, I will. I have it right here. I have one little tube of gouache that I've been painting with each demonstration, and that's gouache. See how beautiful it is? The difference between gouache and watercolors is that gouache is opaque, whereas watercolor, of course, is see-through. It's the same. It's not a problem at all. And that's our black velvet, but I also have our wonderful, I love this, this is our Golden Natural series, and this also will hold a huge amount of color, and you'll be able to do a lot of detail painting with this as well. See that?
So along these lines, Monica asks, what's the difference between the quills and the black velvet? Or maybe you can throw in the golden natural there as well.
Well, quill is a different shape. The quill is a different shape. Do we have any quills here?
No.
I've got in my office.
No, I'll go get it.
The quill is, as you know, it's a.
I'll go get it. You're just going to have to sit down.
Just take one of those mops over there. And that's very much like a quill. Quill holds a huge amount of color. This is very much like the shape of a quill brush. This is the mop from Black Velvet. And you can see that it's got a very, very full belly, and it has a very, very wide expanse that you can paint with. But most of the time when you use quill, you're using at the tip. You really are, because it holds so much color, it's very difficult to push it down. In the majority of folks, thank you, here's a quill, right here. And let's get a little bit of water in there, so you can see that all real quick. A lot of sizing in that. This is 100% goat hair, so that means you would use this for blending. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of cleaning with that. But notice the shape on that, and that's great for any kind of detail painting that you would like to do. Like that. Again, I've got too much sizing in here. This really has to be blended out a lot more. No, you want to go in my office, I have it in my office. Okay. But you can see that you have a nice big belly here, nice tip over there, and that's a very nice advantage of the quill. If you're standing up, there you go. If you're standing up and painting, a lot of us prefer to stand and paint. This is perfect for it. You know, folks that like to stand and paint. And this is a quill that's 100% Taklon, extraordinary brush. It really holds a huge amount of color. I'm going to use it in just some watercolor here.
Which one would you recommend for smooth blending of watercolor on medium-sized paper, goat or squirrel hair?
I would use either one. You could use either one, whatever you have in your kit, and without without any hesitation whatsoever. You could use either one. They both work really, really well.
And then separate question, can all of your brushes be used in all media?
No, that would not be true. I would not put black velvet in oil color. I would not put black velvet, this guy, I would not put black velvet in acrylics. I think the hair is just too soft, and I don't think it would pull properly, and I think it'd be a shame to wear it out so quickly.
Yeah, you'd have to ask your supplier of brushes, we provide our distributors with a chart that shows which brushes go with which media.
Right.
That's an involved question to answer, actually. I'm trying to find who asked that question again. Lily May. So that there's more to that, Lily May, because that every brush is different. But if you go on our website, silverbrush.com, we have under each media which brushes go with which media. So happy to share that information with you through the website whenever you need it. Which brush is best for heavy-bodied acrylics?
We have a lot for heavy-bodied acrylics. Certainly this bristle Mottler hair, this is wonderful for heavy-bodied acrylics. Anything with bristle. You can also use our blended badger with heavy-bodied acrylics. This will work very well. It'll smooth it over very, very nicely. You can also use, well, we have all kinds of hog bristle brushes. We have all kinds of, and this is a wonderful hog bristle. As I told you before, this is the chisel blender in the Jumbo series. We also have that in, for heavy-bodied acrylics, you can even use our stiff white Taklon in our Jumbo. That will definitely hold up very, very well, keeping in mind that you need something that's very, very strong, and that's going to really hold its shape and just keep on working. We get a clean page. I'm going to start all over again.
All right. About 5 minutes, and then we'll give away some free stuff.
All right, that's wonderful. So we've got the Jumbos in a white stiff synthetic fiber. We have it also in a golden Taklon, which is very, very soft. So those of you that want to do something that we want to get really into the color and you really want to move it around and you need to have it really very pliable, I would definitely recommend the golden Taklon on that. And then, of course, we also have bristle in many, many different shapes. And one of our great retailers, the whole chain basically has all of our Jumbo series, and that is if you have an artisan craftsman store in your city, they carry our Jumbos in all of their stores. So make sure to look them up. Everybody seems to be open now, so we don't have the closings that we had originally, and we're very excited. Everybody is buying and bringing merchandise into their stores. We wish them great good luck. I know Binders down in Atlanta is open, and Jerry's down in Miami, and Fort Lauderdale is open, and Azles is open down in Texas Way. Wet Paint is open in St. Paul, Minnesota. All the artisan craftsman stores are open. Soho is open in New York as well. And so if you have a favorite store, let us know, and we'll be glad to find out if they carry our brushes for you.
Irene asked, could you do a quick demo of how to clean out the watercolor brushes?
Well, first of all, you have to work with clean water. That seems to be a problem I have, because I seem to be able to make everything very dirty. I'm very good at that. I had a bunch of clean towels before we got started. And
Lisa quickly asking, what's the green-handled brush? Again, which one is that we've used?
We have a couple of green-handled brushes.
Yeah. Well, that we showed today.
That we showed today.
I'm trying to see. What did we
green?
do that was green?
We have black.
Yeah.
We have another black. We have the goat hair hockey.
And then a lot of natural wood.
And we have the natural wood in the Jumbos, and we have black and brown and white in the quills. So I'm not too sure what we have in green handle here. We do have green handle brushes in our Grand Prix series, as well as in our Cambridge, and then we have it also in our Crystal series. Yeah. So, but I don't see any of
No,
those
she meant
today.
black. Sorry, she meant black. So that would be the black velvet or the
Black
Mottlers.
velvet. We also have the
Mottler.
Mottlers, and we also have a squirrel hair quill. So this is our black velvet. When you go online and you see people painting with watercolor, you'll generally see them painting with black velvet, because there's nothing at all like it in the market anywhere. It holds its shape. It's going to last you many, 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 many years, and it just flows so beautifully. It's just something that you want to have in your studio, so that when you're doing watercolor, it just will sing and it'll do the paintings for you. All right.
Great. All right, then let me jump in. You have to sit down, Mom, because this is now low. There you go. All right, so did you want to finish just showing them the watercolor cleaner?
The watercolor cleaner, well, what I'm going to need to do is, what I'm going to need is some clean paper towels, which I have used up, and
Sorry, everybody.
basically watercolor should come out with a little bit of,
Question from Erod. Your brushes are handmade, right?
most of the brush is handmade. If there's anything that's still made the old-fashioned way, it's artist brushes, but some things are done by machine. Crimping is done by machine. Certainly the handle painting, they have a special way to do that so that the handles come out so beautifully.
But all the brushes are handmade. I mean, we've been to every one of these factories multiple
Well,
times,
actually,
and
they
yeah,
are handmade,
yeah, they're all
yes.
handmade. But sure, they use some machines. They're
They
not.
have to use some machines
Yeah, I
because
mean-
they're actually stronger than doing it by hand.
Yeah.
And that's great for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so time to pick some winners here. So I'm going in order. Let me come around, everybody.
All right. So, thanks again for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate the participation. We love having all of your questions. We love the engagement. Let us know if there's anything that you're not getting that you want to know about brushes. Obviously, we're here for you. That's the only reason we do it. So, first of all, this set of hockey brushes, okay, is Robin Lovell McKee. So, Robin, this is you. Keep that in order. Congratulations. Next is the Mottler, and the Mottler is Jacqueline Nemes. Sorry if I got your last name wrong, Jacqueline. That is you. And then we have Chris Cunningham gets the jumbos. Congratulations, Chris. And finally, Geeta Ravi wins the case. Congratulations, Geeta. So thanks again, everybody. We will do this again in 2 weeks. I didn't print it out, I'm sorry, but 2 weeks from today, that's September 23rd, same time, 12 noon U.S. Eastern Time. We'll be back here again. One in, Miss Silver. We will, do we know what the topic will be yet in 2 weeks? We still have to figure it out.
I think everybody should write to me and ask me questions, and I'll be glad to work on those for the next Facebook Live.
That's a great idea. So we've got 2 weeks. Send us by direct message through Facebook what your questions are, and we will just formulate the next session all around you guys and your questions. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great couple of weeks, and we'll see you soon.
Stay healthy,
Bye-bye.
stay well, take care.